Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Durai. Good
Durai.
afternoon.
Hi,
Good
Priya.
afternoon,
Good
Durai.
afternoon.
Hi,
all.
hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks.
Hello, Amit. Good afternoon. Hello, RMP sir.
Good afternoon. Hi. Yeah.
Hi, Amit. Hi, RMP sir.
Hi.
Hi, Uday.
Hi everyone, good afternoon.
In 20.
It's 3 p.m. Others who are joining, let's wait for a few more minutes. We'll wait for 1 more minute and then we'll start. I'm audible. Can someone confirm, please?
Yes, Durai.
Yes.
Yes, Durai.
And you guys can see the slides, right? Slides moving.
No, it's
Yeah.
in the first. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you. Thanks for joining this masterclass with experts on the always-on platform imperative, why EA must power performance, security, and continuous innovation. So today's session brings together the industry practitioners and leaders to discuss how enterprises are evolving to meet the demands of always-on systems. We will look at this from business perspective, platform thinking, architecture depth, and operating model evolution. So before getting into the core topics, let's quickly talk about our portfolios. So at Stackroot NIIT, we work closely with enterprises on building capabilities across technology, architecture, and digital roles. And our focus spans across entry level to leadership levels. It spans across architect capability development, platform engineering, cloud AI, and data-driven transformation. So basically from learning technologies in isolation to building integrated capabilities that deliver business outcomes. And these are some of the events that we do. Thought leadership. Yes, can you mute yourself? Thank you. So along with capability building, we focus heavily on thought leadership and practitioner engagements. We conduct webinars like this, calling in industry experts, the practitioners, and to share their views and thoughts on the trending things. Then we have digital architect conclave, which happens every year, where we bring in architects across the globe to present their ideas and views. Then industry forums and leadership connects we do. So we bring together our all industry leaders across events or spanning across events to discuss on what is actually working in real world systems. And for today's session, actually, we have esteemed speakers, Ranjit and Amit. So Ranjit Mohan Nair, let me introduce Ranjit Mohan Nair. So he's a chief enterprise architect from UST. He brings in deep experience in designing platform-led enterprise systems and enabling business-aligned architecture at scale. He has worked across complex distributed environments, helping organizations move across scalable and resilient platforms. We have Amit Kumar, practice head for digital engineering and architecture at Coforge. He has strong expertise in building and scaling cloud-native platforms with focus on translating architecture into real-world production-ready systems. So together they bring in platform thinking and engineering execution. I also have Dr. VishnuPriya Raghavan, Senior Vice President Business Head at StackRoot RPS NIIT. She works closely with the enterprises on driving large-scale capability transformation and brings a strong perspective on how business expectations are shaping technology decisions. And she will for today's session, she will set the context on why always-on enterprises have become a business necessity today. I also have R.N. Prasad, who is a senior consultant with us, who comes with decades of experience in EA, enterprise architecture. He has guided organizations through large-scale transformation and operating model evolution. He will give the closing comments. He will help us bring everything together by looking at how organizations operate, scale, and sustain always-on platforms and what lies ahead. So with that context, I would like to invite Dr. Priya to take us through the business perspective and set the context. Thanks. Over to you, Priya. Thank you.
Thank you, Durai. Am I audible?
Yeah, Priya.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
you are.
Thank you. Thanks to Amit, Ranjit. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have customers vet and validate what we say. There can nothing that can be more exciting than that. And a warm welcome to each and every one of you. We strongly believe in benchmarking ourselves to do better and better. And we also strongly believe in thought leadership, which is why we are also here, because we strongly believe in contributing, sharing knowledge, getting experts so that we all continue to learn together. And architecture programs has always been a flagship intervention for StackRoot and RPS. And which is also the reason every year, as many of you would know, we do the Digital Architect Conclave each year to bring together practicing architects in a forum, which is a day-long event in Bangalore. And this year it's going to be on July 3rd. So always a pleasure to be talking on any topic around architecture. Again, a very, very warm welcome to each and every one of you. A very good afternoon. Pleasure to be here with all of you. And as Durai said, the themes for today's session is the always on platform imperative. RNP was very specific about this word, the always on platform imperative, because enterprise architecture is today powering the performance, security, and continuous innovation. right? But before I even come to the idea of always on enterprise, I want to begin with a very simple point because enterprise architecture, why has it become more important today than ever before? Sorry, somebody was saying something.
You're on mute.
Okay. I heard some noise, which is why I went on mute. Okay. Why enterprise architecture has become more important today than ever before? Because we have been running a lot of the programs for enterprise architecture, at least personally in my capacity over the last 15 years, I'm telling, where we started with pure play TOGAF certifications, and today how we have evolved is phenomenal, right? Because enterprises are no longer operating in stable, predictable environments where systems can be designed once, reviewed periodically, and changed slowly over time. That era is gone. Businesses today is digital, it is distributed, it is connected, constantly under pressure to respond faster and faster and faster, and customers expect seamless experiences. Operations run across platforms and ecosystems, especially in the case of retail or banking, as customers like you and me have become more and more omni-channel. There is more and more reason why operations are running under platforms and ecosystems. Security threats are continuous, and innovation cycles especially are much shorter today than what it was a couple of years back also. And every change in business strategy now has a technology implication almost immediately, which is why even when we do these architect conclaves, we do these poster sessions, we continuously keep asking architects, when you tell your story in a page, when you tell your architecture showcase in a page, when you mock yourself that, if you're doing a mock architecture review board, talk about the tech stack and talk immediately in the next breath about the business decisions, the implications, and vice versa. Right. So in this kind of an environment, enterprise architecture cannot be remain as a background discipline, and EAs cannot remain a paper tigers, right? So it cannot be only about governance. Governance is very important, especially in the AI world. The point is not to bring governance down. Governance is important. Standards are important. Future state diagrams is important. But beyond all of that, enterprise architecture today is a strategic enabler of business performance, and there is no argument about it, right? And enterprise architecture today is what helps organizations answer some of the most important questions that comes and hits you and me every morning. How do we scale without becoming fragile? How do we move faster without creating a lot of chaos? How do we stay secure while the ask is to become more and more open and more connected? And how do we innovate continuously without destabilizing the core business? So, which is really why this topic is very, very relevant as of today, because there is a new operating reality. The new operating reality today for enterprises is be available, be responsive, be secure, and be always evolving. Nothing else. Now, which if the enterprise has to be 24/7 available, 24/7 responsive, 24/7 secure, 24/7 innovating, evolving, and everything, then that is nothing but the always on enterprise. So that is really why it is the always on imperative. We are operating in a world where we are expected to do all of these things, available 24/7, without any friction, without any delay, without any failure, and continue to innovate and operate, right? Now, whether it is healthcare or retail or banking, this is obvious, right? A delay is just not about an inconvenience anymore, right? In fact, the most recent healthcare cyber attack, we read about, I don't know how many of you read about that huge disruption that caused to pharmacy refills and insurance, transactions. And I think the breach affected about 192 million people and all of that, right? So it is the FDA report also clearly had said that cyber incidents can completely render the hospital networks and medical devices inoperable, and and can lead to a lot of delays across your diagnosis, treatment, and patient satisfaction, and so on. And e-commerce is not even a question. I mean, I think you and I can, all of us can feel retail, right? I mean, there are two things that you and I can feel anytime is one is banking, the other is retail. The expectations in e-commerce, especially for customers like us, the expectation is relentless, right? I mean, we expect to browse, we want to compare, we want to pay, um, we want to track return, we want to do get a refund, and all of this instantly and seamlessly, right? A short outage is no longer just a minor tech glitch. It has failed to checkout, or it is wrong pricing, it is crash and immediate revenue impact. So when we say the always on enterprise, so we are not only talking about uptime, right? We are talking about an enterprise that must perform continuously, that should be secured continuously and innovate continuously. So the which is why the systems cannot go down. And how do we build? So the real problem is this: how do we build enterprises that are resilient enough to run, secure enough to trust, for the customers to trust? Um, in fact, in the last masterclass, we had one of the SRE experts who came and said reliability is a new metric, right? Scalable enough that we grow, and we also remain nimble and flexible enough to evolve continuously. And this cannot be done without the contribution or the humongous effort and everything by the enterprise architects, because enterprise architecture is really what connects the business with technology capability. And even when we do a lot of our enterprise architecture programs, in fact, for Coforge and UST, Amit and Ranjit are here, and for a lot of other organizations, we clearly say um, it's a lot about, we in fact start the first phase of these programs and thinking what we call as the enterprise architecture strategy. There is a lot of focus on strategy, business implications, because this is what helps organizations move from fragmented solutions to coherent platforms. And we do so much of work on strategy before we even move to all the processes and methodology and case-driven discussions and architecture decision boards and review boards, architecture decision records and review boards, because this is what enables the performance of the enterprise with, as I said, the resilience, the speed, the innovation, the agility, and while giving stability to the entire platform, right? So if the business expectation is the term always on, then the architectural response cannot be ad hoc, right? The architecture and the business expectations, if they don't match, then we are not even talking about, I mean, then the whole thing becomes irrelevant, right? So the architecture then has to be intentional. If the business expectation is always on, I always say this, the architecture cannot be ad hoc. It cannot be thought about later. Architecture must be intentional to answer, to make sure that the business expectation is always on. So which is why our enterprise architecture must be platform oriented, and must be designed for both, not only for today's performance, it has to be designed for tomorrow's change as well. And which is really the context of today's webinar. Business demand has become always on, which means enterprise systems must become always on, cannot be ad hoc, must be intentional. And to make that possible, organizations need the right architectural thinking, the right platform engineering foundations, and the right operating model. So that is really the imperative we are here to discuss today. And with that, let me hand it over to Ranjit, who will take us into the next part of the conversation, right? Thank you very much to each and every one of you here. And Ranjit and Amit are going to take this over and go a lot deeper into it. Durai, thanks to you. Ranjit, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Priya. Yeah, thanks for nicely setting up, the why part, the business need. Thank you. So Ranjit will take us through the, what part. Okay, over to you, Ranjit. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Start. Can you see my screen?
It's coming up, Ranjit. Yeah,
Yes.
it's on now.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you can see the slides, right? Okay. So, as Dr. Priya said just now, the the plan here is that to talk about always on part of the platforms. So first of all, let me just take a second to introduce myself. I am Ranjit Nair. I work with UST, and my LinkedIn profile is always in the invite, so you can please go through it. So I won't spend much time in that, but the whole idea behind this particular presentation. Somebody is talking. Can you go on mute, please? I can hear. Okay, thank you so much. Still, yeah. So the thing is that always on, as Priya said, platform is a very vast topic, right? We've been discussing for last so many years because we have seen in different ways. See, we must have some of us must have always taken in the wrong way initially. Say when I started with this platform, which I'm working right now with my leadership, at that time I was not able to understand how this is going to place because we heard about products in the past, and is it the same thing? It's just a change in the name, the way we sell things, but no, in fact, it's not. Then we realized that. Sorry, I'm getting feedbacks. Okay, thank you. So what I was thinking was that for past 20, 30 years also, I was in this industry, in different roles, different areas, different technologies. But if you look back, these certain things we were keep on inventing to make our life easier, mainly in the IT point of view. I'm not talking the business point of view right now, in the IT point of view. Like, for example, take in the case of the way we introduce deploying multiple, say, small programs into or multiple solutions into a Unix server. And somebody else was working on developing a database to help us to handle, move away from files, right? So these are things happen parallel. So when we look into these aspects, all of these were building blocks towards the concept of a platform. Ultimately, it's going to give us more value add to focus on things, focus on architecture and focus on technology. So focus on our deliverables and ultimately give business a very good value add so that they can always focus on their area and don't worry on anything else. And so these sort of things are happening for a long time. So it's not just one-time thing or just happened just now. So platform, I'm not going to go to that word because everyone here knows that. That's why people join here to listen to this. But basically, platform is not something which we start seeing now. It's in different forms, different ways, but it evolved. So that's what I would like to put it like that. Now, when you say always on, as Dr. Priya said, the business demands this platform to be 100% available 24/7. That's a simple one statement because who you go there, wherever you try to sell something, you deliver something, the question is how good it is, how can it sustain, can it scale? All these questions come to the picture. Nowadays, if you look into that, our responsibility for answering those questions are much more lesser compared to what we used to do in the past. Reason being that we are just focusing on our own solutions because of the existing platforms, which is there right now, which evolved in the last 10 years or so. Mainly the cloud is there in place where cloud services are there for us to take care of. A lot of things, hurdles or issues were solved by those companies who is providing those things. Plus, so that I can just focus on what I need to deliver to the customer. So that's the biggest advantage I got from last 10 years. And even if you look into last few years, even bit more, last 7-8 years, it has become even more powerful, right? Because of a lot of other capabilities coming to the picture, not just in cloud. And we are, at that time, we understood the real value of platform where we just sit, use everything, coexist, use other components, and on top of that, just build and focus on our solutions. So that is the reason which gives us this value of all making things always on, switched on always to the enterprise side. So the business also will get the value. In the past, it was IT's requirement to keep these sort of things live, but now in the past 10 years or less than that, it is business who really wants us. It's focusing on business demands. So why it matters is business drivers are always on, and customers expect 24/7, as I said. And then basically in past few years, business has grown digitally. So everything is digital now. So in that case, I was watching, say 2-3 years back, we had this FIFA World Cup going on. I was watching in Jio Hotstar. It's a new channel that came at that time, and then took over Hotstar or something. They were streaming this FIFA World Cup, but it was buffering every 5 minutes or less than that. So I was really confused because that's the problem we create there. We assume that, okay, we just deliver it, we give it and let them let us solve while at runtime. No, the customer like me at that time, I was customer. I am waiting for this to happen. I want to see the match game. That is my only point there, nothing else. I don't care about what Geo Hotstar guys do. I don't care about their infrastructure problems, but I want things to happen. So I might move to a different channel, or somebody else will move to a different channel. Somebody else will look for, somebody else who have authority will move away from Geo Hotstar to some other Sony or some other channels at the meantime. So that means that revenue loss, everything is a downtime, it's a slowness, it's a downtime, and this is not giving me the value add. So that's the cost. That's the reason behind architects are focusing on mostly on always on. Let me tell you one thing. If you ask me whether I am good with this, keeping the system always on, I am trying my level best to do it happen, because as you know, it is not an easy task to do it, to make it things always happen. There are a lot of things involved in this, right? Say, for example, you have downtimes during your installations. How will you handle that particular thing? You will have blue-green solutions and things like that. But when you go for it, there could be a question about the cost part of it. You have to put some extra cost there. But from my understanding, from my learnings, what I understood is that if you plan these things upfront, instead of planning these sort of things, normally what happens is that we are very fast in getting the things to the product, to the market. That's the only thought process at that time. Mostly people like me who are the technical side, we always try to focus only on getting things in the market. So, but actually instead of that, my job should have been, okay, stay there, relax and see what are the possibilities, challenges you are going to face and things like that. So those things I should have taken care. If I should have taken care, I won't be able to get into the situation where, in the later on, I have to think about these aspects. That means that I have to just utilize what is given to me by a platforms, I'm sitting on top of it. And if I do that, things will be easier. So there's a learning we learned in the past decade or so. So I hope in future we will not follow the same thing. We will think and relax, and we'll try to focus on our own areas. And now, second question, what it means, this particular always on. Is it always about saying that your products are going to be 100% perfect? No. It's all about resilience, because we have to figure out how we are going to manage these issues. We should understand how we should know how this when something failure happens, how to handle the scenario. Always there should be backup plans. Plan A, plan B should be there in place, because we can't say that something is not going to go down, because we can't say that Google GCP is having some issue with one of the services and my platform is going to go down because of that. It can happen, but what is a plan B for that? What I will do in those cases? That is something we should think as an architect when we do the design. So for enterprise architects, it is not just about creating classes or design flows and things like that. These are our pain points. These are our areas to look into, and mainly the business part of it on how to keep it always on. Second thing, we know it is not going to be always on. So in this case, how to make it to that near to real, how to avoid those situations. When failure happens, how to handle those things, how to reduce the impact of the issues they are going to face, and how to get back faster. These are things we can think about, which reduces the whole thing, and business will give a feel that we are still always on. Now, the old style issues. Sorry, you might see some issues when I put a screen share. When I put in the presentation mode, something is overwritten here, something's happened here. Sorry for that. Let me try this. Oh, this is a problem with my PowerPoint. So basically what happened here is that, say, tightly coupled systems. In the past, I have worked with tightly coupled systems, yes. I have designed systems, Dell systems, which is monolithic, which is running, everything is dependent and to each other. And when something fails, everything fails. That is one happens. So we face that issue, slow recovery issue. Even to figure out a problem, I have to sit overnight to get the code dump of my C++ programs. It's very difficult to do that. So those things are tough at that time. So these are challenges which made us to a statement that at that time in 90s, late 90s or in 2000s, it was difficult to say that system is always on, but we tried to keep it up because the expectations were low at that time. And these were mostly an IT challenge more than a business challenge, because business, for them, IT is totally somewhat, the change is happening somewhat new. So we can go and tell them, talk to them, but now it is not like that. Everybody we're going to talk to, they know better than us. It's there everywhere. So we be very careful about these sort of things. And risk-averse culture, basically fear of breaking systems led to infrequent updates. As I was saying, we didn't do much innovations at that time in the early stages because we thought of that we might break the system which is running right now. It's also a managerial thought process which came in at that time. Now it is not there. There we feel that, okay, don't touch it, let it run. That concept were also there. So these sort of things kept us from innovating. But because of the issue was that, as I said earlier, we were responsible for entire thing. Now we were sitting with a mixed combined situation where we are working with everything else. Others are working for us, and we are using the services, just pay and use. And all such things are like making our life much easier. Okay. Now, next thing is about how this platform became a business enabler. This happened in the past a decade or so, where basically it's there to bring the business the value add for and make it an always on scenario. Initially, it was, as I said, a struggle. It was not there. But now, once platforms are there, they focus on these sort of areas. They focus on how to bring this up, how to keep this, how to absorb the changes easily, and how to protect the business continuity. That's the biggest part of it. How to handle those sort of areas and faster and valuable deliveries and enable scale without disruption. All these points they mentioned here is been handled by the platform, and because of that, platform complexity, takeover of all these sort of things, it digests all these sort of things, so that people are sitting on top of it are not understanding it. They should just follow the principles aligned by this platform. That's one thing we should be very careful about, right? When you go for any cloud platform or any platform, you use it. That's even in my platform. I work for the product called SmartOps. Even though it's like a commodity of the products, it's a platform where we have workflow solutions, we have GenAI solutions, everything is there in place, agentic solutions. So what happens is that when you build something on top of it, you have to follow my protocol or team or our architects protocols, our leadership protocols. So if you do that, we will absorb those issues which you are facing in certain areas. Say for example, if you want to trigger a workflow, you want to use something as an agentic tool as a workflow, you can use our products workflows, but the thing is that you have to follow our policies and patterns. So we have these sort of protocols like MCP and all defined right now, but it will make our life much more easier. But still, these things has to be the standardized way of moving towards a particular platform should be learned and do it, because that's the advantage of cloud. Go to any cloud, any providers, they have a similar common quality. So they have a similar components available. So if you have a Lambda in one place, you have something else in another place. So it's there, everything is there. You can go and you look into that and use it. We have Mongo services in all the platforms. So you can just go and use it, understand what it is and use accordingly. But just follow the patterns defined by them so that they absorb your challenges and they make sure that you have continuity. Scaling is done through them. So they ensure that your product is scaling, your components are scaling properly. Say, for example, that's why Kubernetes is there right now. So we have managing these containers. So if you follow that particular thing, it will be good. Some people won't even go to Kubernetes even right now because they say that it's complex. Well, it's not about complexity. It's about understanding that and follow that pattern. And when you follow their architecture and ways of doing it, ultimately, they will handle your most of the troubles. You won't be worried about the sort of scaling or downtime and things like that. And similarly, in the case of we have to worry with just how we deploy the new versions. Another thing, say 2 hour, 3 hour downtimes is not a easy thing to happen, right? It's easy thing to our business, right? So in those cases, how to handle those things? They have an answer for all these things. And even another thing is that layout platforms, even we have enterprise solutions right now floating around. There are common solutions. We have a lot of ways of doing it. I'm not talking about just asking ChatGPT and asking him to find a solution, but still, if you go and search, if you go and look into that properly, there are articles, there are documentations which talks about how to handle this. So an enterprise architect should be open up for such things. Then we and platform coexist. Platform is one of the biggest supporting factor for us to allow the business to make their life easier and things go on smoothly without downtimes. Now, some key platform patterns. It is very high level. There are a lot of things inside this. If I then jump deep, I'm not going technically here. My job is not to go technically here, just to start the process of this discussion. So I just keep it like this. But because if I dig deep into this right now in the current world, there are a lot of things, right? My deck will be around 20 pages. So it won't be, it's not good to do that. That's why I'm keeping it like this. See, how do we use these patterns? Say, for example, in the past also for long years, we are using APIs. See, when I say we are evolving, we didn't drop anything out. We still have all these things. We still keep all these concepts of APIs, means sharing business capabilities. Microservices are still there. We are still using microservices. It's not gone. It's still there. But certain things become faster, but it's still there. But if you look back right now, in next 2 years, there will be some changes, because we might think, for example, somebody was asking me recently, we write code in object-oriented language, because I am sure most of the people who has more than 10 years of experience in IT industry will always still stick on to object orientation. But if you ask the current team, current generation, they will say, why to spend time on this? Just our ChatGPT is doing it for me. What do you call? GenSpark is doing it for me. Anything is doing it for me. They're not GenSpark, basically the Cassidy, anything is doing it for me. The Cloud is doing it for me, or generating code for me. And it is managing my code. It understands its code. Why it should be in object-oriented way? But still, that's how we train. It might change. I can't say that right now. It might change. I'm expecting some changes coming in the near future. But right now, these things are continuing the same way, even if we are using all these capabilities for generating those things and keeping our life simple. So these all things will make sure that system. What I was trying to say is that with all these sort of aspects, the platforms and the way we do things, we are trying to ensure that only focus is to how to run the business, how to make it always on, always running, and how to make it happen. Those parameters I mentioned earlier, that is all about understanding that you can make failures and find ways of failures upfront. Going very positive is not a good idea, because some people will start coding straight away. They start coding assuming that things are going to be smoother. It's not going to be, because we are coexisting with a lot of things in this world. So now in the platform also, something else could fail. So in this case, in those cases also, we have no worry about what if something else failed, right? So these are the some points I would like to mention. So looking ahead, what is going to come in future? Say, look at this. So today we established the foundation. We have the foundation there right now. Today, in the sense, what I would say for past a decade itself, we have been seeing a lot of good things where, with the help of cloud innovations, we are able to keep it running, right? But now the platforms are going to be much smarter. Smarter in the sense, as I said earlier, it can generate things. Now, the thing is, I imagine for past 5-6 years back, when you ask someone to develop something, deploy something in Kubernetes, they have to learn a lot of things now. Now we have Cloud AI or other tools. I think they are going to give us Cloud or something will give us easily generate this all those documentations and requirements for setting up a Kubernetes service. So learning is coming down. Platform is much smarter. So now what is the next level? Now the next challenge will be how to handle a smart platform. Another challenge for us. Till now, it's a dumb platform. You can say I have to make things smarter. Now it is getting even smarter than me. It is learning. It has knowledge about from different people. It learns from different people across different documentation across. It's much faster than me. So how to handle those platforms and make it better? And to do all these things, first and foremost, when you start something, the foundation must be the strongest thing. So I always say in my team also, I was in a meeting a few minutes back. I was telling the same thing to them, that, okay, first of all, sit and think about all these aspects. Sit and think about what are going to use, what are going to reuse. And it's just about, then in those cases, then you think about it, so that you can make sure that you are sharing responsibility and you are using the best choice solutions in the market. And ultimately, it becomes to make things running 24/7 is not just your responsibility. It's a combined responsibility, but our responsibility is that we should make right choices to get it up and running. The capabilities must be chosen the right way, so that we're able to put a good platform to the customer and make their life easier and give them what they expect. That is going to be like more of a always running a platform which have lesser failures. So it's not just about technology alone. It's about envisioning the business and everything on time with the help of the leadership and trust. Yeah. Yes, that's it. So
Thanks, Ranjit. Thanks for helping us to navigate through the what part, the platforms. Okay, you clearly brought out how platforms enable businesses to stay resilient and continue operating even when the system, part of the system fails. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Guys, if you have any questions, you can post it in the chat window. So we will have the speakers complete their speech, then we will take up the questions. So you can post it in the chat window. So once the speech is over, we'll take it. And we have a dedicated Q&A time for that, slot for that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
thanks, Ranjit. So now let's move into how these platforms are actually designed and built in real world systems. We'll move into the how part, architecture and build. Over to you, Amit. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So listening to all what we can do, it appears that, we have become gods. We can transform anything to anything. And anything which we build, say, for example, if we build a table, we can transform it into a bed because the business wants it. That's ideally not the case. As an architect, we are supposed to know the system, and tell the business what is the art of the possible. It's not always mandatory that the business needs to go X way or the Y, and the platform will suddenly evolve. Anyway, so that's my take. And I mean, now we were talking about. I'm not a seasoned speaker, so I'll try to be myself. So platforms, you got that notion in the previous connect, that it's a shared capability, and capability is something, ability to do, have a change in your system or a platform or a business so that it brings out some value or the other. Now, I will share how do I started with this, and then where did I end up? So my journey primarily. It's not right or wrong, but it's always open to feedback. And maybe it gives you an idea what exactly do I need to do. I mean, I'm an enterprise architect. Enterprise means big, and architecture means giving a structure to something, a system or a platform or a product to see. So I started with large systems, and it had multiple applications. And as an architect, I gave the structure. This is the boundary. This is what it's supposed to do. What will move? What will not? And we ended up creating so many models, frameworks. Model is something where you put in something and you get a response. Framework is something which does something by default, and then where you put in your context and it tells you the response in your personalized way. That is the definition of a model and a framework. So we build all those things so that it's easier for people to use it, and they do not struggle with the decisions which they make, either design or coding or testing or whatsoever. And we wrote lots of document and got it into ARB and all those sessions, and got it approved and put it there, version controlled and all, and told the whole team, 900 people and all. What happened? Nobody, I mean, not nobody. Many of the people were not looking into it just because it was so large. It was so outdated. It was written like a year back or so, something like that. It didn't really read well into the context, which was continuously changing. So there was a gap which was identified. And I agree to it. Say, if I was a developer or a lead or a QA enthusiast who joined a project, or even a solution or a technical architect or a data architect, I would look into this vast ocean of document, and I would start reading it and just say, you know what, this doesn't work out. And then there are strategies to be implemented, right? So I had experience where two of the projects, I have merged those experiences here, in which one was cloud native modernization. Half of the people did not understand what is cloud. So then we have to tell them that there are 5 pillars of what makes us cloud native. And composability was, in my last encounter, composability was an important thing. How do we achieve this? And no matter how much, and similarly, you can see other stuff. no matter how much document you write, with all those things, it doesn't really translate. So what actually, after struggling and figuring out how the platform thing will work, I realized at the end of it that the mechanisms in which it actually works is to just, give them something which is very, very concrete. So when I look into it, I see standardized Kubernetes or ISE templates, which actually went well, where things could be provisioned and, the team could use it. It had all the guardrails. It had all the CPU checks, the memory checks, the EBS and all those stuff. Similarly, for compliance, instead of asking them to ensure compliance, give them scripts, give them a policy engine, and give them, a sample policy as a code. If you use it well, then, your strategy is working fine. The EA is actually in place, flying. I talked about this operating model, right? Model is something where you get your responses from. Now you look at it, and we ended up calling it as an internal platform, and we called it as internal developer platform for the generic reason. And there were three, parts of it. We started with the whole engine, the IDP engine. We called it as a delivery engine, and the delivery word was very deliberate because it gave you something instead of just documents. And the principles which we wanted to infuse in the platform, principle is something which you follow. This has to be done in this manner, and this should not never be done. And the value was something which the business later got interested and said, you know what, you are investing so much time and effort into building this platform. Where is my value? Then we had to bring this third piece in so that we can get the funding and that buy-in so that we get this value. That was the whole idea. Now let's look at this. What did we make? We created something which was self-service. It means, I mean, we connected with people saying that what is it that will help you, which will not consume too much of your time, and how much control do you want to, allow with that. And with this mindset, we created something on a product style, and people were free to use it. I mean, there are templates. If you want to use it, fine. If you want to tweak it, still fine. If you want to contribute back, still fine. I mean, these paved roads, or if you want to have a workflow with these 4 steps, okay, fine. If you want to introduce fifth is still fine. These are proven, elsewhere there are like 900 people within 10 towers. So 3 of the towers are already using it. You just need to leverage it. And the format is not a document, but it is, a YAML file or a piece of library or something like that, which is reusable with you. And all the governance and the compliance and security was, baked into this platform. So if you follow that framework or the library or the template piece of code or even a service X, something as a service, authorization as a service, you don't need to worry. The payment is already using that as authorization as a service. It has all the auditing piece. It gives out all the matrices which are needed for observability. Don't worry about it. So these things went a long way, and we did need to invest a lot into it. Now, the examples which I just mentioned were architectural principles. People did not even realize it, but this is what we wanted to enforce in a system. So, for example, composability, right? We infuse the idea of bringing something as a service. For resilience, you can as well say, I talked about observability. It was all, nothing got missed out because that template was already there. The compliance also kept setting in. And this, as I said, you have to convince your business to invest into it. So you map all of this with something like, velocity and focus and all those stuff, and it actually makes sense. So in all, what I'm trying to communicate here is that look at those red words. Your reference architectures are going to get ignored. Yeah, my mind did actually. Static, things get static. Your frameworks, which are supposed to give you responses 6 months ago, which you created them and tried to evolve it at a catch-up phase, it will drift. And you need to think much differently. Instead of your ARBs, I mean ARBs, ADRs are not bad, but the thing is, until unless you have a platform capability thrown at, the adaptability is less. And then you have to show that all the metrics and all the productivity, all of them actually are, showing value, that this is the real way the platform will be helping. Now, we all understand that, the EA is just not development. There are multiple aspects of it. So I took, few domains out here. So I took like 4 of them: business, application, data, technology, security, and all those stuff. And these principles, applied to these capability, they were, giving me outcomes which really needed for that matter. I have almost talked about most of it. I can talk about integration as a service. So there are multiple data sources, and the data lake guys are very, happy doing ingestion. And there are other teams who also wanted to do ingestion, especially like Swift and all. And most of it actually were a shared service. And the notion of composability of a reusable domain service or reusable set of APIs, those actually kicked in, and we translated it to agility, and this capability became reusable. So it was available. The whole capability of ingestion is available, and it has all the nuances of batch, protocol, frequency, volume, retry, audit, transform, enrich. I mean, you can just keep talking, and a lot of time was saved. I mean, we think that we did a good job as an EA while we did it. Now, while we were doing it, we have some patterns and anti-patterns. The thing is, the successful ones are pretty easy. You have to show that the whole road is your whole workflow is very, very simple. You can take the whole workflow or you can take pieces of it, not a problem. And we are not forcing you. You can tweak it as whatever you take is a certified thing, is something which we have invested a 6-member team who would actually build these capabilities and throw it out to you. And they will be agnostic that they're doing it for you. They will create it as a very generic utility or a framework or a piece of code template. We used it in one of the reason we are using it in a modernizing product which we are building right now. And again, it is 900 people, and we are finding that it is working just fine. It's very, very smooth. This is a very high risk game, so we don't want to have the same mistakes over and over again. So these patterns of repeatability is what we are seeing is something which is happening. When we saw that the acceptance of this platform was low, we picked out some of the common things and which we said that we will avoid. So we went and talked to some towers, some pods. Why are you not using it? And they're saying it's too complicated, and you will have to follow this contract, and you have to obey this thing, and you have to do it in this manner. There's no flexibility out there. So in some cases, we did realize that we have over-engineered our solution. So then on, we have made this promise to ourselves that whatever we build will be bare minimum. We will not add any fancy stuff to it. The framework will have the primary flow and the hooks. And there are sample hooks available. Either you can take the sample hooks or you can write your own. But we will not force you to have all the hooks anyway. Say, for example, an ingestion pipeline, the same which we are talking about. So we made it leaner. That is very, very important to have it very, very leaner. The second thing is some of them are really not smart as you guys. I mean, if you guys are enterprise architects. So it has to be real easy to actually use it. So much so that we have to give them a Docker image and say, you know what, just run it. That's all you need to do for authorization as a service kind of a thing. So those are a few things which we listened to from various pods, And then we implemented it under our principles that, this is the mannerism in which we will ensure that things will be released per se. Now, you will have to have multiple mechanisms to measure it. And until unless you are able to give the evidence, this investment, which is almost like 10 to 15% of your project budget, will not come. So these are some of the ways in which we measure, and it was either the speed, 5x, or lesser failure rate in percentages. In some cases, we just said, you know what, it has saved you so many hours because your velocity was higher. It was just the other way around. So those are some of the things which you can find, but you'll have to do it. And this is the mechanism in which I did. So I thought this is definitely something which we should. The only one thing which you should not be doing is whatever I've written in the, bottom. And you say, apologies, I can't tie it to a business outcome. This is not going to fly. I mean, this is something which I understood, and I'm sharing it with you that please do not undermine this. It's definitely going to be there. Now, there is something which, my colleague also talked about. The AI is the next thing which will come in. And what do you want to pull out of AI and put it in your platform? There's something which you will come to know while we hear your people. So I hear people, trying AI to build beautiful HLD documents from capabilities. Some people are doing it on features. Some people are doing it on sub features. What is the granularity level they're looking for? So you never know. How do they cross check? So there are some of the things which we have identified. Since we have not productionized it in our platform, we are still, I'm not going to divulge it here, but again, there are many things in the AI which needs to go in our platform so that, this whole SDLC, the infusion of AI needs to go. But surprisingly, agentic is something which, has not made it to the final list. Context engineering or prompt libraries are very basic, and that we have already established. But some of these have the agentic, multi-agent things have not yet come in. There's not much of demand. It's not that trustworthy. I would use the word anyway. The guardrails is something which is growing of higher importance. Sustainability has come in surprisingly. Cost is always there, but there it is taking newer dimensions. So our cost optimization is not only about how much you are getting billed, but the cost is translated into the green token kind of thing. So we have to build those as well now. We live in a different world, I guess. So some of the things which will come, and your platform has to grow. And once you have established that it is successful, it will, people will fund it. I belong to a company where there is a horizontal space which invests into it, so it's fine. Again, there's one thing I wanted to leave you before I end, that just by having platform or this practice in place, no, it doesn't work. It needs to be matured. It needs to be matured in terms of trying to automate things. I mean, automation is well spoken and said, but again, how much and to what degree? With automation, you will have to give some kind of a leeway to configure it, how to use it. But it has to be dumbed down again. So I think these are my three cents, which I will throw it to you, that do not automate blindly. Anything which can be automated, should be automated, is not the right way. Okay. Composability, I've seen people, this is the only thing which, makes people happy across the stakeholders list. And I think it is, I mean, this is the new term for the word reusability, which was there like 20 years back when I started things, but it's definitely there. Okay, no matter what, make developer your customer. Think that whatever you're trying to build is only for the customer, and the people, the stakeholders who are funding needs to see a value. So in those terms, if you don't mature it by either giving it a number, saying that, it was in the last year when I did developer survey, it came to be 6.5, and this year it is 7.5. It's not going to fly. So you have to sell your platform as well and show that it is getting matured and matured. So with that, I like to close. The thing is, whatever principles as an EA you want to infuse in your platform, you have to create capabilities which are reusable, and this is the definition. Reusable capabilities are called platform. But those capabilities should come out in a manner which is a product or a framework or a library or something which is usable rather than just documents or guidelines. And this needs to be mature. And the maturity, as I said in the last time, the only one, if you were to shortlist, pick one maturity, it would just be dumbness or ease of use for developers. That is it. And definitely measure it. Anything you do, you should measure it. I shared my components which I created on this platform. I hope it gives you an idea of how I identified patterns, and you should be doing it. That what should go into this platform engineering. Yeah, and then again, I did my measurements in one mechanism. You can do it in another. But again, some of the things which I'm also looking into is AI augmentation. I mean, why not infuse this platform with AI? So this is again the native stage, but would be happy to hear you out or anything as such. And this is something which I'm looking forward to. Thank you, Duraivelan. Back to you.
Thanks, Amit. So it was in fact a nice walkthrough, I can say, on how platform engineering brings together governance, automation, and delivery at scale. Thank you. With this, I will hand it over to R&D sir to talk about how the future evolves. Over to you, sir. R&D sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I'll just share my screen. Give me a second. I hope my screen is visible. I'll make it full screen as well.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Just
Yes, sir. It's visible.
yeah, I'll take one more second, I think, just to make sure that I'm connected properly. Okay, now it is in the proper shape. So I will just use this opportunity to summarize what all we have seen in about 10 minutes in a different way. So we really have, thanks to the two speakers who were really brought in along with VishnuPriya, the business, starting from the business need to breaking that business need into architectural elements and then engineering elements and operational elements. So we have talked about three essential parts today. One, business. Second is architecture. Third is engineering. And fourth is operations. All the three are extraordinarily important for a platform architect in of the future. So I would just take the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the screen that you are seeing now, and I'll come back to this idea with an example. So first question that we are really trying to answer is, why do businesses need an always
sorry
on
to disturb you, sir. Sir, is it possible to increase the size, the view size?
This one, no, this is
you can use a plus symbol on your screen, the left-hand side.
Yeah, it's there. Yes. Okay, so this is fine. Continue.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I can do that as when I come to each of those points, I will be able to pinch and use it. So we spoke about the business, and I think the one thing that we want to really look at is, in some way, we are talking about called business continuity. I will take a specific example which all of us are very familiar. For example, Uber. We need a cab at any point in the, if you land in airport at 2 a.m. early morning also, then also you can still get a cab. Or if in the early hours also you need, you will be able to get a cab. In a different place where you need to transit, you can get a cab. So today we have really looked at the kind of operations that are happening, which really is always on. Uber is a very good example that comes to my mind. So we will talk about that part. Why platforms almost behaves like a digital twin of your business? Because I think both the speakers really gave a very important element that how external environments of any business will keep changing. The regulatory compliance may change, the competition will keep changing. They will think of new ways of doing business, which we call business model, new ways of making money, and even monetizing the money from the data that we have acquired over several years. So all these influences which are connected to the business growth has a direct impact on IT. And today we seem to be only following the business requirements, but it is possible to almost synchronize. It is possible. So that's the second part I want to bring in. Then if we have to architect such a platform, which is not only business aligned, but also always on, what are the key considerations that we want to do? This is the real focus from architecture perspective, from design perspective or the engineering perspective, and the operations perspective. This is the third one. Third element is the one that we will dwell a little bit deep. And of course, what are the capabilities that we need to be really looking at? That will be for information for the people who would like to learn about the new capabilities that you want to build, and why those capabilities are likely to be relevant in future is the justification of trends that are shaping the always on business. So let me just go to the part here. What do we mean by always on enterprise? It is really the way that um, way businesses really want to work, hour by hour or a minute by minute. All of us know, for example, here Uber has a variety of things that we experience that I'm trying to underline here. We have rides, we have drivers, we have maps, we have pricing, we have payments, notification, support, and trust controls. Whether your own rating, your own tracking of the ride by your spouse or anyone else, all those things are all operating not as different entities. They are all orchestrating among themselves. That's the most beautiful part of the platform. So if you want to stay connected and coordinate in real time, this is another very important word for the world today, real time. So if we have to make all these pieces work together and orchestrate in real time, then while transactions are continuously flowing and customer experiences is experiencing all these things every time, you need a always on enterprise. This is the business need. What happens, for example, if any of these things occur? For example, failed journey. I book a cab and that person doesn't turn up. Then loss of the driver earning. There are some situations when the driver doesn't get paid, or there is a dispute about the payment. The ride showed 165 rupees and it ended up costing 365 rupees. And you know why? Then surge pricing and other things that really are, whenever it rains, we all have seen all these things. And when something goes down, what is the cost of recovery of that particular platform? And once it happens, that in social media and everywhere, this becomes a news and it damages the trust. So you can imagine that one platform elements, how they're all really connected. And I would just like to focus on just a couple of things to really show what are some of the things that really matter for us as an architect from essentially listening to the two speakers today. From architecture perspective, we really look at composability. This came up very well, and Amit spoke about this many times. This is like Lego blocks. Can I have standard, well, neatly fitting Lego blocks, which will definitely build a bigger tower, but it will really become, well, even though it takes a new shape, but it is stable. So this is the first thing. Second one is enterprise architecture awareness. We have certain non-negotiable things when it comes to enterprise architecture, like security, performance, then compliance. All these aspects can never be compromised because this is universal. So this is the canvas on which every other IT application or a platform is built. So from that perspective, EA awareness is really very critical. Then governance. What are the rules of the game for any platform to coexist like a normal citizen? That is another element which is applicable at a architecture level. And the last one is, I want to, at least for this session, is about AI centricity. So this is non-negotiable and we will always need it. When we come to always on platform engineering, I think the most important thing to all of us that we need to begin with is, to me, is experience. That too, today we are even talking about AI age experiences. Okay. Then other thing that always happens in this are the NFRs. So we have the well-architected framework from AWS and a similar version from Microsoft. These really talk about the non-negotiable, non-functional requirements that we can never forget. The other critical thing for engineering is agility. And today, nobody is building like a monolith nor big bang approach. So agility becomes a very critical factor. And I would like to also call upon to say decision intelligence and not analytics. This we have already moved to a new domain called decision intelligence. So operations essentially begins with observability, because all the things that are happening can be monitored today with tools, and predictive analytics along combined with that can help us to really keep our systems on 24/7. Very, very critical. There are two new things that we always talk about today is the RTO, RPO. Now, where recovery focus is very clearly shown, not only SRE, but also the recovery related metrics are monitored today. Now, many of you know that ITIL was the fundamental practice for providing support. Now, there is a version specific thing called ITPA, which are the processes that are required for managing large-scale deployments. And finally, AI-centric workflows, which are added on top of the ITPA, really will make all these things very, very different. So in this one page, we are able to see why there is a complex orchestration in real time is the essence of the future. We are also able to see the consequences of not making this happen and focusing on architecting for resilience, engineering for planet scale, and operating for rapid recovery. This is the mantra that we will all be saying. And I had left this blank because I wanted to capture the essential messages from the speakers and then fill that with you in real time. Now, if we go back to this part, and if we were to trace this and add, here everybody spoke business looks at value. This is very clear. And if we really look at the capabilities that we really want to bring in at a platform level, now we have really discussed this at 3 levels. It's standardizing once and reusing many times. This is what Mr. Amit spoke about this very well. Sense and response. So all these things are possible with AI today. And as architects, interestingly, we have to focus on all the 3 areas: enterprise-related capabilities, engineering capabilities, as well as operational capabilities. So with that, I want to just summarize only 2 words that become relevant for all of us in future. It is orchestration, because AI is very good in this. Use AI and context for doing this job, it has infinite memory and it can remember everything. And the second important thing that we need to remember is ways of working. AI is not taking our jobs. AI is taking our tasks. Whether you are architecting or building a DevOps pipeline, or whether you are servicing an ITIL ticket, everything has a way of working. And that way of working is going to be redesigned, and it is going to change. These 2 are the keywords for our future: orchestration and ways of working. And with that, I've tried to capture whatever happened in this webinar today. And thanks you very much for giving me this opportunity to share this with you. Thank you. Back to you.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for the wonderful speech. Sir, with this, we will open the floor for questions. So if you have any questions, you guys can share it. You can ask, unmute and ask, or you can post your questions in the chat window. Any questions? Okay, so any last thoughts from Amit, from Ranjit?
Nothing much as such, but it was, sorry. Amit, go ahead, please.
Okay, so thanks, Ranjit. I'll just take 2 minutes. So AI is definitely important, but please understand that AI will not judge for it. It will not make any judgment. So I am struggling to see how AI can get into areas where human judgment, either in architecture or design, is involved. Extracting value and really mapping it out are things which require human judgment, and this is something where you cannot trust AI with. Trust is the major deficit which I'm seeing with AI. What I mean, this is something which I see is lacking, and I just wanted to convey that so that you are aware of it. Now, there are the other good things which AI, which I have found AI to be good at. AI is good at ensuring or evaluating it against something. So assume that you are writing or creating a piece of architectural, decision or an FR as such. Make sure that you write on your own, and then ask it to check it against all your EA governance, against your best practices, against your context, and the amount of value and the ROI. If you are able to do that, that gave me a better result. So we ran this program or a POC kind of a thing, where we said to developers or designers, so as to create an output, a mermaid.js, and Even a context, which AI failed miserably. It just randomly gave A, B, C, D, whatever, no matter how much context it is. But then we asked the developer or designer to actually create it and then run 6 layers of checks. You know, check for A, B, C, D, E, check for coupling, check for cohesion, check for performance, check for this and that. And the result was better. So far, the journey of exploring AI and engineering, I have seen that if we keep judgment out of it, because I don't trust it, it has worked wonders. This is something which I wanted to connect. Thank you.
Yeah, then just give me 1 second. I'll also try to just consolidate the things which I tried to mention earlier. Basically, my point was like, when you talk about always on, it is not just a technology goal, it's a business promise, right? That's what we always have to put forward, like a business promise. It's not about technology as such in the past. And main thing is that, when these platforms and, are basically the way for our for enterprises to keep this promise up going. So basically, when the platforms are getting matured, and ultimately, as we are saying just now, this AI will be one of the factors for enhancing them towards the next level with the help of insights and, decision support and things like that. But still, from my point of view, the foundation must be always the one which should come first. That's the main thing. Basically, when we design things right, when we plan things right, the business also can move fast. That's what I think. So everything else is a tool for me right now to make this promise to be kept alive. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Amit. Thanks, Ranjit. So there is a question from Maneshwari. Question on how architecture can power continuous innovation. Relooking at the work process and convert them to agentic workflows is the way forward. So there's a question. It's there in the chat window. Can anyone of you take it? How architecture can power continuous innovation and relooking at work process and convert them into agentic workflows. Is that the way forward?
And for see, it is something we would like to achieve, right? Ultimately, this when you say agentic workflows, see, since I am in an area where automation is a part of it, and we talk always about how to look at the work process and try to convert that into workflows. In the past, now we talk about whether agents can take care of it. Yes, for a tool, yes, we do that because we are working on certain areas like that. But actually, whether it's going to happen in all the areas, that is we should be very careful because in one of the things we are working right now also, where I have a very similar case where people are involved, humans are involved. We are trying to refocus these humans and try to put bots and agents there and to make sure that we are able to continue. But one problem is that, see, how will you handle the failovers? Because, in humans knows a lot of things. He knows what he doesn't know as well. But in this case, how can you train these agents? How can you avoid these hallucinations? These sort of things has to be learned first because we are also in a very premature phase. So basically, we have to go for it, but very careful. Understand it, understand these workflows carefully, go through it properly, go through all these proper process carefully, and see what these guys do in all the ways. Because it's not just about positive flows. We talk about negative flows as well. Where when something goes wrong, what this guy will do, how the escalation happens, how to use HITL, all these things comes into the picture. Okay, so that is the way to do it. It's not like just converting that, understanding all the SOPs, dump it to an chat GPT or something, convert that to workflows and use it. It won't work like that because we have to do a lot of learnings on that. That's my input from my experience on this. I hope you answered the question.
Thanks, Ranjit. Yeah.
I'd like to add
Yeah.
everything, evolves continuously. Architecture with AI or without AI, not a problem. And not only architecture, you're trying to say that, architects look into processes. I don't know which processes do you mean, whether it is SDLC process, business process, what process. And then, replace it with, or not replace, or improve it, or improvise, or automate it with agentic workflows. Agentic workflows have their own limitation. If you do something well defined, there's absolutely no deviation. and the risk is low, then it qualifies for a agentic workflow. Second thing is, how much benefit does it add by converting it into an agentic workflow? Because again, anything which you create right now needs to be upheld and improved and maintained and so on and so forth. So do not go blindly. Do not tread this blind menace of finding something and converting it into a agentic workflow right now. And I think that is all I needed to add. There's no right or wrong answer. Thank you.
Thanks. Anish, with that answers the question. You are able to relate.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So okay, so Udi, you have already quoted the poll for feedback. As we need a minute of yours to share your feedback. Okay, so Udi from NAT team would have shared the poll. Please take it. You can share your feedback. Okay, thanks all for patiently waiting and listening to the webinar. Thanks Ranjit, thanks Amit and RNP sir for a wonderful speech. I'm sure there will be key takeaways for each one of you guys who attended this webinar. We are on time. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.